I did not learn the rules of social behavior, didn't learn the rules of social communication growing up. Getting a diagnosis, when I did, allowed me to suddenly realize where most of my remaining deficits are and to focus my efforts on learning to communicate better and more effectively. Now, it's hard to apply a lot of those up here as a speaker, which is an ideal place for somebody on the spectrum. Why? Because we love to talk. We love to dominate the conversation. And as the speaker in a forum like this, I get to do that. But out in social settings, I've had to learn to stop and pause, to allow others to interject in a conversation. I've had to learn to allow the conversation to shift topics and go on. Many of us, how many of you have experienced somebody on the spectrum that even in a social conversation, after the conversation has moved on, they'll wait and they'll grab the conversation and pull it back to what they were talking about in the first place and try and go on and on and on and on and speak and dominate the conversation. Others will reach in and grab it somewhere and take it somewhere else, and they'll grab it back and bring it back. Why? Most of the psychology books that I have read about this give the wrong answer, or at least the wrong answer for me. I believe I have a better explanation as to why that behavior exists. When conversations go into areas and subjects and topics that I am not comfortable with, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to act. So what do? To bring myself back into my comfort zone, I want to grab the conversation as soon as I can and bring it back to what I'm familiar with, where I know what I'm talking about, where I am comfortable. It is a self-soothing psychological mechanism to grab that conversation and bring it back to my comfort zone. I now know where I need to focus my efforts, and I have learned more about social behavior, social communication in the last 7 years than I did in the entire 55 years before that. I'm a very different individual before you now than I was just 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And there are a couple over there. I see them.
Okay.
That's what I was going to ask. Just going to ask you about the question about how did you go about learning to do it through like social skills or
Reading about it overwhelmingly. Why? Because there's virtually nothing out there for adults. Social skills training is almost entirely set up in today's world for children.